No, they're not going to work. They're not going to work. They're not going to work because intelligent people want their money to last forever. You can create a million of them, but there's only one Bitcoin. So if you're stupid, then you will buy dog coin number 16. If you're stupid. But if you had $1 million and your choice was to buy Bitcoin or dog coin number 16, the problem with dog coin number 16 is the person that bought it is stupid. And they're stupid. They bought it because they didn't like dog coin 15, because that wasn't as good as dog coin 14. But someone that will buy dog coin 16 will buy dog coin 17 and dog coin 18. So you're getting yourself in a situation where you're buying something which is not scarce based on a fad, and your doggy coin number 97 is going to be defeated by dog coin 184. That's why you don't want to own the dog coin. The person that buys Bitcoin wouldn't buy the dog coin, you see, because Bitcoin is a proof of work network secured by mining and real energy. Doggy coin 37 is an imaginary coin secured by imaginary energy and imaginary world for imaginary things. And you can imagine a million of them. Bitcoin is real money secured by real energy and real technology in the real world for real things. You know, will it be copied 10,000 times? Will they work? None of them. Right? Bitcoin Cash is less than 1% of Bitcoin right now. That's the closest like-kind substitute. It's collapsing, right? So no, they're not going to work. They're not going to work because intelligent people want their money to last forever. It's kind of like, you know, you put your stuff on YouTube. You could create your own yo-yo tube or me tube or groove tube. Okay, why don't you do that? You could own it all because no one's going to watch it. Well, what happens if some people watch it? Well, the people that work for you will create Yo-Yo Tube 4 if it works, and they'll keep cutting the market in half. And the person that creates the one yo-yo coin will, you know, break off and create 172 more yo-yo coins, and they'll all lose their monetary premium and they'll lose their brand because people don't want to take the risk, right? They want the safe bet. And so Bitcoin is the safe bet, not to mention the fact, as I pointed out before, the other problem with all the other networks is their securities, which makes them somewhere between illegal and unethical. So if you're not persuaded by the fact that they're risky, insecure, and a competitor will probably copy you, the real problem is they're not property. And if they're not property, that means you're not going to be able to trade them or promote them or hold them if you're an institutional grade custodian or a public figure. That's the problem. Oh, the other cryptos they're just companies. You're betting, you're speculating on all the rest. Bitcoin is the dominant digital monetary network. It's different. The reason that Bitcoin makes sense is it's not valued based on cash flows. It's a non-sovereign store of value as a bearer instrument. There is no product. There is no cash flows. There are no quarterly results. There are no costs, right? There's no employees to strike. The cost of aren't going up. There's no supply chain to get snarled. There's no revenues. There's no cash flows. So if you're worried about the future, if you're worried about inflation, if you're worried about competition, if you're worried about corruption, if you're worried about taxation, you want to run to the least risky thing you can find, the thing that's hardest to corrupt, that's hardest to tax. What is the product of Bitcoin? When you buy a Bitcoin, you're buying 1/21 millionth of all the money in the bank forever. That's what you're buying.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
What will the product be in 1,000 years? 1/21 millionth of all the money in the bank. It's the same every year for 1,000 years. That's not the same with Apple Computer. Apple's got to change the iPhone. Google's got to change the product. Microsoft and other companies, Amazon, they got to change what they do. They have Nexus and employees, and they have regulators, and it's possible to put price controls on what they sell, and they can be unionized, and they can be banned. Bitcoin just exists to be, right? If you're looking for the lowest risk place to go in an uncertain world, Bitcoin is the low risk institutional grade asset. As I look out at all these risks, I say everything else you could buy is riskier. Bitcoin is the least risk. And that's why it makes the most sense, because every intelligent person is going to run away from those stocks, away from their real estate. They're going to sell their real estate. They're going to sell their stocks. They're going to sell their gold. They're going to sell their commodities. They're going to buy Bitcoin. They're going to sell all their altcoins and all their other random things because those things are risky and competitive and insecure and regulated. And Bitcoin is the least risky, hardest to regulate, hardest to tax, hardest to break, most universally desirable thing in the universe. There's nothing that's more robust that you can get your hands on. There are about 2 to 3 dozen publicly traded companies that now own Bitcoin on their balance sheets. All the public miners own Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Square owns Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Coinbase owns Bitcoin on their balance sheet. MicroStrategy does. So we've simply been educating corporations on how to acquire Bitcoin and how to handle it. And that's been pretty successful over the past year. Thousands and thousands of private companies are acquiring Bitcoin on their balance sheet and dozens of public companies. And I think that trend will continue.
Don't you think the government and the Fed would try to do something to stop that because they want to keep inflating the value of their currency to keep paying off their national debt?
Not this decade, maybe in the year 2040. Right, Bitcoin's only $1 trillion asset class. Gold is 10 trillion. So if Bitcoin went up by a factor of 10, it would still be inconsequential. If it went up by a factor of 100, it will start to compete with all the equity indexes and the bond indexes. So when Bitcoin is $100 trillion, it'll be 5% of all the money in the world, or 10% of all the money in the world, you see. So when it gets to $300 trillion, at some point, Bitcoin will cause governments to print less money, and they'll have to resort to taxation. Right? The government can generate a lot of inflation as long as Bitcoin is weak. And when Bitcoin is half of all the money in the world, they'll have to move more toward taxation. But you're talking about 20 years out, 30 years out. I mean, there's a soft landing. So Bitcoin is not really a threat to strong governments, to the US and to China, especially to the US. It's not really a threat. It's more of a benefit for the next decade. It's a problem. It's more of a threat to weak currencies, like in Nigeria or Venezuela or Zimbabwe, right? If you have a Lebanon or Afghanistan, if you have a weak currency, that currency is being replaced with a dollar, and Bitcoin and the lightning rail is the rail over which the stablecoin dollar is going to travel.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where to start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.